Hello and welcome to another edition of the Wildcat Walkthrough. I am Cedric Bailey, and I have with me the Coach Lawson. He went 1-for-1 over the weekend. His Utah Utes got, I don't know what happened to y'all.
Well, they struggling and they don't have their quarterback, so they really they're in defensive. They're in that defensive mode, so it's gonna be low scoring until they can get their quarterback back.
All right, well, we'll see what's up. But right now, I want to say congratulations. I've been doing you guys for 11 years, and I know when you played against Diamond Hill Jarvis the week before, we knew that was going to be domination. But against Western Hills, I think that was probably one of the best executed games I've seen for the Wildcats. But I'm just the announcer. How do you feel, Coach? What did you see?
Yeah, we started out, we wanted to start out fast and things like that, so we was able to do that. We just kind of got sloppy that second half. The second half, because there's some things that we want to do, like right after halftime, we want to be able to, put a drive together, go down and score and stuff like that. And we kind of messed around that whole third quarter. We didn't do anything till late that quarter. But that those are the things we gotta be able to come out of halftime, focus where you don't give a team momentum, you know, and that'll make the game hard for you. So, but other than that, we still fought and still did the things we wanted to do. Was able to get a young quarterback in there, and he played very well. So, and then was able to get Brighton, kind of kept stepped in at quarterback and just kind of cleaned up some things that we wanted to run and that we weren't really comfortable with our younger quarterback. And then Brighton played. He had over 10 tackles on the defensive side, so he did a great job of coming out and just filling in wherever it needed to be filled in at.
Well, you know what? We might have to call somebody coach say, well, hey, we got some two-way players over here at Dunbar, and Brighton Woodard, who plays quarterback and is a senior. He's been there with you for 4 years. We got to show him some love because
Yeah,
what he
yeah,
did.
yeah, and that's the type of kid that you need around, on your team, because it's all about the team. So he's willing to step and do some other things, and you never hear a gripe or frown from him. He just goes out there and now he's that quarterback on that defensive side. So now the defensive coordinator he can pretty much call anything, and Brighton to make sure that those guys are lining up right and things like that. So you got now he just take that same type of role he had on the offense. He just taking it to the defensive side.
Wow. Well, kudos to Brighton Woodard again. I mean, there's so much to talk about. But what made you decide to go with Marcus McDade as the quarterback this time?
Well, we kind of worked him in a little bit against Diamond Hill, and that was something we've really been wanting to do. And I kind of been sitting down talking with him, and he wasn't really comfortable with it. And really, that's why we brought him up last year as a freshman. But we put him at the receiver, and then it just came a time we said, "Say, man, you just gonna have to grow up. It's the game. You're gonna have to do it." So we felt really comfortable with him, and before the game, during the game, we just said, "Hey, man, just be you, because you got the ability, you got the arm." So now, the sooner we get him out there, the sooner the game will start slowing down for him.
Well, on defense, Don Eric Yarborough, we kept mentioning his name all throughout the game, man. Yarborough was coming in. I don't know if he was hungry, y'all didn't feed him, but he was right there on top of it, Coach.
Yeah, he's as a senior for us, and he's an experienced guy that he's been starting at the position since a freshman year. So he studied his film. So when they start giving him keys, or that offense start doing something, he started making that read, and he's able to just jump right in and stop things behind the line of scrimmage. We also had a kid, Jacorian. Jacorian is up for the Star Telegram Player of the Week. What they do the voting, and he had 12 tackles, 4 tackles for losses, a fumble recovery, a forced fumble. So he had a real good game. And that's a kid. He's a junior that's going to be back, and he got a really upside to him. But yeah, that defense kind of, really came through. We just looked at some of the guys. We just told them, hey, you did a great job. You did a good job. And we just need to kind of speed up on our reads, because when you see this right here happen, we know what's coming. So you need to go ahead and react to it accordingly. And we're getting there.
Well, last week I gave the offensive line an A+. This week I got to give them an A-, and I'm gonna tell you what the minus is for.
Mm-hmm.
Because y'all were in, I mean, here's Marcus back there, and I'll be doggone if the center don't hike the ball over and gave up the shutout,
to get it over his head, and he jumping with his arm. That's almost 12 feet. You got to that's almost impossible to do if you told him to do it. But and with him, Tony's doing a good job. And I know there's gonna be time, like I tell people, that's just growing pains and it bothers you, but he's a kid, he's not a scary kid. They're not rattling him because it's like you're trying to see what's causing him to do that. Is it when they put a nose guard in front of him? He had a nose guard in front of him the whole game. They even put two guys in 2-1, guys in the ones on both sides of him. And that, he was fine with that. And then he made, so it's just some things where I tell him that's just a focusing problem. And really, you gotta, he gotta understand. And we've told him, man, the offense goes through you. If you're not having a good game or snapping the ball to that quarterback, that kind of bogs down the whole offense. So we just keep talking to him, and he had a good week of practice of snapping that ball. So, first thing people start seeing that, and teams and coaches said for them, oh, he's kind of bothered with somebody being in front of him. But he's not bothered. I mean, they had a guy in front of him all day, and most of it, you think 97% of those snaps was good. Yeah. And a good speed and everything. So, he really improved from the first week when we had Diamond Hill. Last week that was his first time starting against Diamond Hill. So you look at that game and look at this game, you can see a big difference in where our speed and stuff like that. But, we show him when it is a bad snap or a slow snap or something like that, he can see how it kind of bogs where our backs are having to stop and stutter step. So that kind of throws us off. But we got to get that fixed. Well, we can be 100% correct with that, because I know there's some teams we're going to play, they're going to get off that ball. And if that's a slow snap back there, they'll catch that ball before it get to Marcus and be running the other way with it. So that's just something improvement. It's some growing part, but he did do a great job because we see what it is, and he knows it's just a focusing side of it.
And what's your center's name?
Okay. Huh?
What's your center's name?
His name is Tony Green. He's a junior. This is first year. Yeah, this is first year. And he was a kid. We was having, we kind of wanted to move Marcelino around. Number 55. He is our best lineman. And Tony just stepped in. Hey, coach, I can snap it. And he just stepped in and just started doing it. And he was doing it. We were putting Don Eric, and we were putting Damian, we putting some of our best defensive linemen right there in front of him to just kind of rattle him. He would have some high snap, but it wasn't because of, guys getting timid or something like that. It's just that focus where, hey, man, this is, I know you want to make sure you make your block, but you got to make sure you get that ball to that quarterback as well. So, but he's coming around where he's going to be a real good center before it's all said and done.
Well, outstanding. A couple other highlights too, as well, I want to talk about, and that is, of course, I got to talk about number 10, Ben Smith. I mean, the combination of when Marcus gets the ball, by the time he gets it, it's only in his hand for a half a second, because Ben is fired off the ball and got it. Can you talk about the sharpness of that and Ben, what he's doing?
Yeah, and like I say, man, Ben's a competitor. We were going through some drills this past week, kind of on our receiver blocking and things like that. And I remember Ben getting out there, and a guy called Ben out. We're like, okay. And I was laughing back there with the other guy. And I said, well, that's one thing about Ben, is that Ben is very, very competitive. So if you call him out like that, understand what you get in your hand, what you calling out, be prepared for it. And that guy figured it out real quick. Thought he already knew, but he figured it out real quick. Ben's a competitor. When they talk about a guy that's being a real dog that's on the field, that's Ben, because we can put him anywhere. And now he really getting an understanding of it. And a lot of times people think may think I'm fussing at him and things like that, but there's certain things that I expect from him every single play. And just like when he get back on punts, I'm telling him, man, catch every punt, because if you don't catch the punt, you're doing the opposing team a favor. But if you get that ball in your hand, they know they have to account for you. And that's just keeping pressure on the other team at all phases of the game. So he really got a good thing of that. And he ran a punt back and ran a couple back. And that was by him catching it and getting up the field. So we kind of, it's like a study going on where he got to understand, and we tell him, man, you're putting pressure on that opposing team. Keep that pressure on it. It all starts with you just catching the ball. If you catch, like we tell them, if you catch the ball, that's pretty much a plus 10 to 12 yard. It's automatic first down, because if you don't let it bounce, that's a negative 10, because it's going to roll at least 10 yards. So, regardless of what your return is. So he's really figuring that out. And I already told him, people are not going to kick the ball directly to you. So be reading and get over there and catch it.
Well, let me say this. He sandbagged him again. He did it against Diamond Hill Jarvis. He did it again to Western Hills, because he made that. It was like he caught the ball and he said, okay, I'm going to look. he saw an opening and he took off,
Yeah.
and
And
he was
you know,
gone.
and you look at any of the great returners and stuff like that, man, everything is downhill. Like I tell them, I say, man, that's side to side. You're not gonna get anywhere with that,
Yeah.
unless you just, this speed, so much speed. But that only works a certain time when people know you're gonna run laterally like that. Now they setting their angles for you laterally. But when you catch the ball and you get downhill, that pretty much breaks all the guys' ankles. Well,
He
they
doesn't
have to
play
now they
defense
got to
though.
reposition themselves. Yeah, they got to reposition themselves, and once you get through that first line and you break it down here, now you can use your moves and go. I'm not gonna say lateral, but I always tell them when you break it laterally, I'm saying laterally, but I want you to break it down here at a 45-degree angle where your moves is you're always gaining yards no matter what step you're taking, and he's real good at that. So he's gonna be a special one.
Yeah, and now the running back position, I've seen him be on the left side and cut all the way back. Ben Smith is probably the most versatile player I've ever seen for Dunbar. Why?
Yeah,
He kicks
he,
field goals. He
yeah,
runs back
yeah,
punt.
yeah.
And then, coach, there was one play that Marcus threw a 50-yard bomb up in the air, and he came out the slot position. Talk about that play, coach.
I mean, like I say, he's that's what you get as an athlete, And I'm telling, like I said, when he go out there, the only kicks he misses after you make a long run or something like that.
Right.
And and I always tell him, I said, well, now I know, and again, I go get, I just go get on him, and I tell him, I say, hey, I know what it is. You're a little winded, but you just can't focus in. But that's a part of the game. That's thing. And again, you get. One thing I tell him, I say, now you've been in that situation, you got to learn from it. Take a deep breath, control your breathing, and do all of those things. It's a lot of things that we talk about. And then the kid like, oh man, Coach Lawson don't know what he's talking about.
Oh,
But
really?
when they get in that situation, you got to know how to calm, you got to know how to calm your nerves. And that's a great asset to have. And, in real life, like I tell them, you're going to be in something. If a police stop you, you get all tense and all of that, man, you got to learn how to calm yourself down because they just as tense as you. So just learn how to calm yourself down. And we're working on that. And like I say, we just learn from it. I just tell him that, and we just keep it moving. And he understands, and that's the great thing about having a young man like that, because there's a lot of growth, and I can spend my time as a coach. My coaches can spend their time as coaches to, instead of having to hurrah and praise their kid for so much and spend all that time, you don't really have that teaching aspect of it. And now he understands that. He understands that, man. We're not putting you down or anything. Whatever you do, you try to push yourself to be even better.
Gotcha.
And you have that within yourself to be the best that you possibly can be, to be perfect. Like I tell them, hey, shoot to be perfect. Are you going to be perfect? No, man, you can always find something wrong with what you're doing. But in order for you to be, shooting for that perfect, you're going to always fall where you need to be, and that's better than average. That's so he's grasping that. He understands that. So I know when that coach walked through that door and asked about it, is he mentally tough? Yes, he's mentally tough. We put him through that. We put him through the ringer. And he's prepared to deal with that. So it's just the upside for him.
All right. Well, I want to go ahead now, and I'm going to switch my screen. And one of the biggest things is when a player comes off the field, they got to either walk by you or you going to go to them. So we're under visor watch right now. So here we go. You see that picture?
I hadn't even threw it. I hadn't even threw it yet. I'm Usan. I'm learning how to watch myself, because I know the kids sometimes they'll get me telling, man, coach, you need to calm down sometime. So I'm taking their advice for it. Now I get to talk to them a lot more, but they know I get animated with them. And again, and I always tell them I'm doing this for the betterment of you. Because even though people say that this is football and things like that, I always tell them, man, this is football is parallel to life. And
can't get the number on that player. I can't get the number on that player right there.
I'm thinking, let me hold on. Oh, that's Damien. He know I'm a fuss at him all the time. And a lot of them I just fuss at them just to be fussing at them, even, cause I know their mamas done missed them for something. So, but he knows. He just laugh and he'd laugh and go on about it. But you look at him, he's just as big as I am. So he still got the he still got the respect of his old man and stuff like that. But again, I always try to put him in a situation where I know when they walk off that football field, if anybody ever put pressure on them, they'll know how to handle it. Even when they have issues with their teachers and stuff like that, and I go down there, and whatever may have happened in that classroom, I tell them, haven't I said more to you on the football field? Haven't I done more to you doing this or doing that? And they'll be like, yes, Coach Lawson. So why are you even letting that affect you? Just let that stuff roll off your back. If you have to have a conference with your teacher, just say, hey, miss, in a very respectful way, say, hey, miss so-and-so, can I meet with you after school? I just got to talk with you about something that I'm uncomfortable with. And that's what I want the kid. And even if I say something to you that you don't really like, I leave that opportunity for them to say, hey, Coach Lawson, you came at me like such and such. What's the deal with it? Then I explain. I explain that to them or something like that. So it goes hand in hand, and I tell my coaches that as well. I say, yeah, I pin on, I jump on my kids up and down. I always leave them a way out. If it's, but then I always be able to go to them and say that you're wrong. Or they come to you and they say, hey, coach, boom, boom, boom. You're able to tell them, hey, I was wrong at that, but this is what I was trying to get you to see. We come to a common ground. Let's treat them as a young man, and they treat you as a man, and we move on. But that's just a growing process. And I really got some good kids, man. I really do, regardless of how the season comes. And a lot of them, they don't even expect, because I was talking about being one time and to another kid. And Ben just overheard me, and I told the kid, I said, "Now, what I'm telling you, if you go ask Ben what I just tell you, he would never expect me to even say that." And then Ben was behind. He said, "No, I didn't even know behind me." He said, "I sure would." And I was giving him compliments. I was giving compliments about a game. About a game. They don't think I see those things, but I kind of want to get them to a point to where they're not so caught up in the facade of trying to satisfy everyone else, but not really satisfying themselves or what they're coming out to this game to play. And my biggest thing is that they love to play the game, but it's about them playing it with each other, because this is lifelong friends that they're going to have the rest of the day. And I say, this is where y'all building those relationships that they last a long time.
Yeah. Well, listen, we got Carter Riverside. They're in the district, which you guys are 2-0. So they got beat last week. So what do we need to know about Carter Riverside?
Well, they got one of the best running backs in the city. In the city, man. And I would tell you, in the DFW, if he was on some other teams, man, you're really Jamil Muhammad. I don't know if you remember, we had this Jamal Muhammad. We had Muhammad a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. That's his little brother. And Muhammad is at you playing receiver at UTEP now from here. And that's his little brother. And I know the little boy's background. I say little boy, but young man, I know his background, I know his parents and all of that. So he comes from a good family. He putting up some good numbers. I think he's like 900 some yards rushing already. So he is the top guy in the district. He's like this year he'll be the top 100-meter guy in the 100 meters. So he's a very talented young man. Coach Mary gonna make sure that they do some things, and they do a lot of formations. They do a lot of things to disguise different things. So we got to really be on it, because, like I say, if Muhammad gets to that second level, man, we don't have nobody to go catch him. So it's gonna be a good game. It'll be a good game where I can really look at my kids, where they see how they identify in formations, know what these coaches are throwing at them, and even if it's something that they don't know, how they line up, who's the eligible receivers and how they float to the ball. So I get to see a lot of things like that, like that tonight, where people be like, "Oh, coach, that wasn't a big game." Oh yeah, to me it's a big game, because I'm going to see how my kids react to the unknown. Because I know Coach Mary, know him. He's an Ivy League school guy, so I know he's gonna throw some things at us that we haven't seen. And so I get to see how our kids really react to it and go. Because if we kind of start the game, if the defense start the game slow, then it's his doing. It's his doing, because he's gonna throw some things out there. Our kids doing some thinking and stuff like that, instead of, hey man, just react to it and let's go. So it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good mind game for us.
I got you. All right, the recap of the games on last week: Kennedale, Eastern Hills. Who won and who lost last week?
Kennedale beat Eastern Hills. So that'll be that, hey, and then we got Eastern Hills next week, next Saturday. That'll be a big game.
Yeah,
And
that'll be at Farrington.
yeah. Kennedale's getting back on. Kennedale was struggling a little bit, but I watched some of that on film, and now they, which Kennedale always started because you look at the teams that they play during that preseason. Not too many people want to face that type of an offense because that's an offense that nobody faced or anything like that. So it's kind of the unknown. So they get some tough teams that they go out there and face. And
Are y'all first place with Kennedale in the district?
yeah, it'll be us, Kennedale, and right now us, Kennedale, and Lakeworth. And Lakeworth, I've seen a little bit of them on film as well. I saw them with Castleberry. That was a close game in the beginning. Then Lakeworth ended up pulling away, but that's another tough one. So really, man, our games back to back to back to back. We got some tough games coming up. Hopefully, I'll get some of these guys out of the injury. Right now, I have about, I was counting. Yes, I think I got 8 guys that'll be out this week.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
so
after,
we can move guys. We'll move guys around, and there's some of my younger guys too. So hopefully we can start getting those guys back. We'll start, somebody just looking out, they pretty much won't notice it because we got guys that are, if I like the guy I'm fussing at on the picture back there, he'll come out there, he'll punt, he'll kick. If Ben can't kick the field goal, he'll kick. He kicks off. He plays a little bit fullback as the block, and he plays on the D line. He plays a linebacker. So, if I have to say, hey, man, I need you to go out there on a return, to him, it's nothing. Okay, coach, I got you where you need me. So, those guys are already going to step up and play. So it won't make a big difference right now, but I'm looking to get those guys back. So when we do hit them last few games, we can be at full strength. Really, we'll need that full strength. We go against Eastern Hills. I already know that's going to be a really tough game.
After Eastern Hills is homecoming, and who do we have in there? Is that
we'll have Castleberry. We'll have Castleberry, and they gonna be pretty tough. A few years ago they got me a couple of times. So
high scoring game on that one too.
Yeah. So we'll be in there again. So it's, some people look at it and say, hey, that's a win. I don't look at it like that because each one of the people that we're going to play, they bring a little something different that prepares us for our last 2 games. Because I know Eastern Hill, Coach Anderson, the same way. We pretty much got the same type of kid. So it's gonna come down to the coaches control their kids' emotions and just make sure you're running your offense. Make sure you're doing your things on your defense. Just control your emotion. I know that's the guy you grew up with. I know that's your friends and all that social media stuff going back and forth, man. You just walk out here on this field and let's just play our game. And a guy that's able to get, control their emotions will be, will be fine.
All right. And by the way, before I forget, I do want to take this time to say good job to JD, Jamarian Garrett, man. He had a great game last week too, as well. Both games. And your little other was a freshman or sophomore running back.
He's a sophomore. We call him Bam. You're talking about Cameron Lloyd. But JD's been filling in, and again, he's not 100. He's not 100%, Jack. Really, JD's the fastest kid we got, and we kind of getting him to that level. He just getting through an injury, and he's too tough to sit down. He don't want to sit down because as soon as I take him out of offense, he'll go jump in on the defensive side because coach will use him over there as well. So hopefully we can kind of get him out and get him some rest this week. Hopefully we can, and give Bam. But Bam's a sophomore. Bam have the man. He got a really good upside to him. He cuts real well. He's one of those guys that he could be running, and he can put one foot in the ground and he can change direction, real quick. So that's his asset. He's got good speed and things like that. So, but in the beginning, we was having, ball control issues with him. And that's why you didn't see that much of it. He would have that in practice, and he knew that's what was holding him back. So, but we was like, okay, now we got to start leaning on you a little bit more. And we'll start leaning on him a little bit more this week to get him ready, because he's going to be something special, though.
Yeah, and that's good to have, because sometimes Ben going to need a break or something. so
yeah,
he can be ready for the
yeah.
fourth quarter to close it
Yeah,
out.
and he's been doing great on the special teams. He's another guy that we'll put in on that defensive side in the secondary. So again, even though they may, oh, coach, I'm just a second string back. No, well, you start on the defensive side. It's somewhere we find it somewhere to get them in and put them out there where they can play, get them on special teams and stuff like that. And they enjoying it. Coach Harris is my special teams coordinator, and he's doing a great job with them because last year, that was kind of a thorn in our side of giving up big returns and stuff like that. I think this year we've only given up one, and that was against Odie Wyatt. So, but they bounced back and they're doing a great job, even though we're having some issues with our kickers. Our kickers got injured. And so we kind of been going if and because we have some good kickers, but they've been injured. So we kind of trying a new kicker now. But we just gonna keep doing what we're doing, and guys just keep getting better and better, and we'll be fine.
All right, Coach. It's time now for your picks. The first game, the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma or Texas. Who you got?
Man, I'm up in the air. I know Texas doing real well, but Oklahoma's been doing well doing well too. So I don't, in Texas, it's hard for me to be 100% with Texas on everything. It's it's because it's almost like the Cowboys. Okay, when is that letdown? When you gonna get that letdown like they had with St. Louis, which they've and I've watched a lot of Cowboy games, but back in the day, St. Louis always, I'm saying St. Louis, but you know what I mean.
Arizona, see?
Yeah,
think
even when it was St. Louis, they would always give them issues.
Metcalf.
They always gave them issues, man. And when that happened, I told me and Lonnie were laughing about it. I was like, no, it doesn't surprise me. But I was like, for some reason, those Cardinals would always give us fit when it's supposed to be a game that we like, okay, oh yeah, that's just mark that on the schedule. They'll beat them. But my thing is, can they run the table and be undefeated?
Yeah. Well,
that's
they beat Alabama, so you expected to do so. And by the way, the Cardinals back in the day had Terry Metcalf as a running back.
Metcalf. Yeah. And it was all even before him. I forgot, was it Green? I'm going way back, but it was always somebody that they have. But can Texas really run the table? Because you think about it, everybody they're gonna be playing, it's pretty much a rival game for them, especially
I'm going with the Sooners because of what
happened
last year.
And really, I know Coach Venable, man, and that would be so good for him because he's a good guy, very good guy, and been knowing Venable a long time because he actually played at Kansas State with some guys that I went to high school with.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of laugh and talk, and he's a very high strung, he's one of those coaches, man, old school coach. You sit there and you talk to him and they get to talking about it and their mouth is getting all white and they spitting all over the place. And
All right. Now last game, if I had Lonnie on the call and I asked him who's going to win between the 49ers and Cowboys,
you already know what he gonna say. And I just go against him because he's saying the Niners and really, when he was with the Niners, that was a big, that's how I kind of went with the Niners and really started following them a lot closer because I always knew it was him. Then they ended up having some other guys that I knew that played with them. But now that's gonna be a good game. That could very well be your NFC championship.
All right. Well,
but the NFC is gonna be strong, man, because Giants, man, Giants is not they got Giants early, they got them good. Cowboys got them good, but it's not gonna be that that close later. And I even like Washington.
Yeah, Washington's good and Philadelphia
playing real good. Yeah.
Eagles.
And all those teams got good defensive, and that's a lot of if a team is not really going vertical or they kind of nickel and diamond people, those defenses are gonna home in on that. You're gonna have trouble with them. So
now listen, we've had a lot to say, Coach. Carter Riverside on tonight at Handley Field. Good luck to you guys, and thanks for all that you do.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.